Hello everyone, and welcome back to another GIS mathematics lecture video. And in this video, I want to address another common way that you will see lines be given, and that is with 1 point and a slope. And part of the reason why I wanted to start with 2 points is because the 1 point and a slope is actually just a subset of the 2 point. So if you understood the 2 point, you should understand the 1 point. And I think it's best, as always, to start off by graphing the thing. So we have the question, what is the equation of a line that passes through the point 4, 2 and has a slope of 2? So let's go ahead and let's graph the thing. So let's use a nice big line here. What is the point 4, 2? Well, that's over 4 on the x, up 2 on the y. So this is where our point goes here. And it has a slope of 2. And if you remember back to our graphing lines video, you'll remember that a slope of 2 just means that we go over 1 in the x and up 2 in the y. Over 1 in the x, up 2 in the y, over 1 in the x, up 2 in the y. And that if we connect these points together, right, you'll see that we're starting to get a nice line here. And we want the equation of this line, right? We want the equation of this line. What is the equation? So let's go ahead and work through some thought process here to sort of recap, right? The equation we're looking for is y equals mx plus b, right? This is our end game because we have a point and a slope, and we sort of drawn this little target line here for us. But what are we actually talking about? Well, we have the slope 2 and we have a point. And if you remember back to our previous video of generating the equation from 2 points, we sort of went through and solved for b and used that approach. The textbook will, or some textbooks, and the textbook we're using specifically, will actually give you what's called the point slope formula, which is y minus y1 is equal to mx minus x1. This is the point slope formula. And this is the way that the textbook would go about solving this problem. And to me, I always find the point slope formula in this context, in this sort of equation, or this sort of question, I find the point slope formula to be far less helpful than to just rearrange this for b. And I'm not gonna go through the algebra again. If you are lost in how I did this, I encourage you to go and watch the solving equations with 2 points video, where we walked through the algebra. And you get y equals minus x plus y, right? Because this equation right here gives us everything we need, and it gives us everything we have on the right hand side, and it gives us what we need on the left hand side. Versus this, there's a whole lot of gobbledygook and rearranging and all kinds of stuff. This is just, it's a clear, in my opinion, if you have a point and a slope, this is the clearer equation to use. So let's go ahead and plug in what we've got. Well, we've got a b, which is what we're trying to find. We've got our slope here, which we said was 2. We've got our x, which is 4. Put a times there so we don't think it's negative 24. And then we've got a y here, which is 2. Well, let's go ahead and walk through the arithmetic here. Negative 2, because we're going to do PEMDAS, right? Order of operations, do your multiplication before your addition. Negative 2 times 4 is negative 8 plus 2. That's going to be equal to negative 6. All right, so our b is negative 6. So this illustrates 2 things. One, it illustrates what happens when you ask to solve an equation with a point and a slope. But the other thing is it illustrates what does it mean when y-intercept when our b is negative? Well, all that means, again, if you think about the definition, this should be intuitive, right? Because our intercept is just what is y when x is equal to 0. But all that means is that it's intercepting the y-axis when y is a negative number. And unfortunately, I didn't put enough room on my graph here, but you could imagine extending this, at the same slope, down, 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 and it would hit at about -6. Actually, it would hit at -6. My bad drawing would make it appear approximate, but mathematically, it would hit at -6. So again, when you have a negative y-intercept, all that means, because you can have a negative y-intercept, all that means is that it's crossing the y-axis in the negatives. Hopefully that made sense. So let's go back, circle back to our question here. It says, what is the equation? Well, what is the equation? It's y equals, well, our m, we were given in the question of 2. And then our x, we don't want to use it because we want to keep this generic. And then our b, which is coming from here, is -6. So plus -6, which we can rewrite to say y equals 2x minus 6. Now, I wanted to take a second just so that in case anyone was confused, I'm going to just quickly dash this out. Because I think the point slope formula is useful, but it's not useful in this context, just because it doesn't really strongly explain what you're trying to get, and it doesn't strongly tie in to what you have. So hopefully this video made sense. Hopefully you were able to follow along, again, going from this to this. Hopefully you understand what it means when you have a negative y-intercept. And hopefully you can replicate the sort of taking of stuff from the question and putting it into the equation. If any of this seemed confusing, I encourage you to pause the video, go back, rewatch the parts you're confused about, and as always, please reach out. Thank you.